Hey guys, so let's continue with the fireball, and in this one we're going to create ability so we can actually use it. I know it's technically a spell, but as I said before, all of the spells and skills are abilities, so they will be put in the same category. And after that we will create impact of the fireball and then damage the enemies. So first thing we need to do is let's go to third person, blueprints and structs and deities. Open ability data table, and here we will add new row. This one will be fireball, name will be fireball, description I'm not going to put anything just yet. Cooldown for testing I'll do like 5 seconds, and then icon I don't have, so just add your own icon here. I'll just use this one for now, and then red one will be color or orange. And for cost, obviously they should cost mana, and I'll do something like 50. And for requirements, so here you're adding what weapons you can use it on, but the animation we will be adding in this video is not made just for staff, so you can use it on different weapon types as well, because I didn't have any specific staff ones. So for now I'll leave it empty. We can use it on all of the weapons, and it actually looks quite decent, but later on probably we should not include the bow, because you shouldn't really be casting spells with a bow. So I'll leave it empty, that will let us use it on anything. And for damage multiplier we can do something like 2.5. So save it. So it will take all of the player damage and multiplies it by 2.5, and that will be the damage of the fireball. Now we can close this, and we also need to add it to enumerator. So go to enums folder, open abilities, and here we're going to add fireball. Save it. And this needs to be spelled the same name as the row in the data table, so make sure you spell it right or just copy the name. And after we have done these two, we also want to go to player to regular event graph, and here on begin play you can see I'm learning all of the abilities manually for now because we don't have any trainer. So we go to from ability component and we learn ability, and this will be fireball. Right, so now we do have ability. It doesn't do anything yet, but we can actually add it to our quick slot bar. Second thing I want to do is the animation. So go to third person, animations, and I created a new folder called magic, and in the link in the description you do have this animation. And as I said, I don't have any specific animations for stuff, so this is just casting spell, but as you can see I'm holding the stuff in a hand and it looks quite good, so it will look pretty decent on all of the weapons and armor. And if you have some custom animations you can use it only for stuff, but for this specific spell fireball I also want to be able to cast it on all of the weapons, so that's why this animation. And we're going to just create montage from this. So right click, create anim montage, same name, open it up, and here I'm going to change the slot here to upper body. Wait, is that upper body or we're just stopping the movement? No, I don't think we're using upper body actually, we're using... We'll see. I don't think we're using upper body, so I'll leave it as it is. I'm just going to check the root motion on the animation itself, so we're not able to move. Alright, and then back in the montage. One thing we can add is montage notify, where we want to actually fire the spell. So as you can see, he's casting here, and then somewhere here he fires it. So before he extends the arm completely, just before, I'm going to spawn fireball, and then it will fly as he extends his arms. So here I'm going to add notify. This needs to be a montage notify, and we can call it maybe cast spell, because this won't be only for fireball. We can use this animation for different spells. So save it. If you refresh it, it will refresh. And then let's go to ability component. I'll leave this one open. We can get there from player, so in the player we got ability component, right click, edit ability component. And if you find this execute ability event, this is where we're executing all of the abilities and setting up what they actually do. What is this one? I do have rain of arrows that is quite big here. I'm going to pack it into notes. Wait, what's this? This is the second part of rain of arrows. So all this, I will right click and collapse to nodes. And this one will be rain of arrows. You can clean it up yourself, but this is just so we get more space here on the video. And change the color. Whatever green this is. There we go. So now you can see we do have a fireball here because we just created it. We don't have stuff connected at the moment, so we can't do anything, but stuff won't be same as a bow. Stuff will be same as all of the other weapons. We need to cancel right mouse button events, so the block or the magic shield, and we need to add new gameplay tag that we're executing ability, and we need to enable action, so remove all of the gameplay tags that we currently have. And then here on the abilities on the fireball, first we want to play the montage. I'm going to copy it from something else because we do have this setup with a mesh, which gets the character mesh. So let's copy this and the montage. Let's go back to event graph and just paste it here. And then fireball will go to play montage. All right, now we want to, from play montage, this will be the cast spell that we done. What's it called, cast spell? Magic cast, sorry, that's what I called it. So magic cast montage, and then here on completed, we do have two functions that are removing the cost and starting the cooldown. So we will add it here, paste it, and we'll add it to completed. So when the animation completes, we'll remove the mana and we'll remove the cooldown or start the cooldown. Actually, this might be maybe better on notify begin, so when we cast the spell, or even straight away on the beginning of this. Maybe it will be the best when we're casting the spell, but for now I'll leave it on completed. And then we also need to remove gameplay tag, the executing ability, when we completed this montage. So get owner and remove gameplay tag. And this one will be character, I think it's in checks, and is executing ability. So we can execute other things again. Alright, so this is the first part set up. Now here when the notify begins, we need to create the actual fireball. We don't have the actor created for it, just the Niagara system, so we need to do that. Let's go to third person, blueprints, actors, and here I'm going to right click, go to blueprint, blueprint class, and this will be actor. We will call it fireball underscore pp. Open it up, and here in the event graph I will leave it. I just need to set up a couple of the variables that we will be using. First one will be velocity, because we will have a projectile movement same as on the arrow or magic projectile, so we need to calculate the velocity before we fire it. And this one will be vector, and we will make it instance editable and expose on spawn. Then I'm going to duplicate this, so we keep this instance editable and expose on spawn. And the second one we will have to do is ability. Which ability we're firing, because we will be accessing some variables from the ability from inside here. So this one will be abilities enumerator. And that's pretty much it. We will compile and save. And while we're in the fireball, let's set up some effect and stuff. So first we'll add static mesh that we need. Then in the static mesh we need to add the Niagara system. We will add it as a child to the static mesh. Static mesh, very important before I forget. Make sure you uncheck generate overlap events. Otherwise it will be messing up your hit with the fireball. And collision presets, we will do no collision whatsoever, okay? We're not even going to add anything to this static mesh. It's just invisible. It's there as a placeholder, so we can add Niagara system to it and also sphere collision. And that will be in the static mesh. So sphere and the Niagara system are children of this static mesh, okay? So now for Niagara, if you select the fireball, we'll have this. Sphere collision, I'm going to change this radius because you can see the fireball is quite big. So we'll do 50. 50 should be fine. And then just go to Niagara and move it backwards. So the fireball starts where this sphere collision starts, okay? Because sphere is what we'll be hitting, not the actual Niagara system. So compile and save. And this is the basic setup, so for now it's fine. We will continue when we actually pass on the velocity and other things. Actually, one more thing, let's just add projectile movement, so we have all the components done. So projectile movement, and on this one we can search for gravity. And I'm going to change gravity to only like 0.3, so it kind of glides through the air, it doesn't fall straight away. So gravity scale 0.3. And now, bugging ability component, we want to do on notify begin. So where that montage notify is the cast spell, we will spawn actor from class. This one will be fireball. And spawn transform, we will right click, split it. And the location that I want to spawn it at is one of the weapon sockets that we have on the hand, because hands are extended in the front, so that's where we want to spawn it. So to get the location of the socket, we do have a mesh right here that we're getting it for montage. So from this same thing, we can just get socket location. And I'm going to use the staff socket name, because that is the one I have on the hands. And that will be my spawn transform location. Then for spawn transform rotation, we also want to rotate it the same way we have our camera rotated, because if we're looking up, for example, we do have we want to fire a fireball upwards, and if we're looking down, we want to fire it down, and so on. So the fireball actually rotates, it doesn't fly straight, because that wouldn't look good. So we want to get the follow camera rotation. For getting a follow camera, we need to actually cast the player, because the follow camera we can't get as a component, we will just get generic camera. I want to get a specific follow camera. So this one here. This one here. So we need to get owner. I will just cast the player. This is not a repeating cast, so it's completely fine. Just in case some of you are worried, this will be on notify begin. And then from this cast, we're going to get follow camera. We got it directly here as a variable. And from the follow camera, we want to just get volt rotation. And this will be the rotation of the fireball. And spawn transform scale we will leave as it is. This is all default. And then we do have this velocity and ability. For ability, we can set it manually to fireball. And for velocity, we need to calculate it. But I'm not going to do any traces or anything like that, because we just want to fire it in the direction of where our magic crosshair is, in the middle of the screen. So for that, we can, from the follow camera again, get volt location. So location of the camera. And then we will add to it we need from the owner get location. So from here we will get actor location. because I want to go from the player forward, not from the camera. So from actor location, sorry, not, what am I saying? Don't ignore me. This part I just messed up. I do want to have a camera location. So first, move this down. Follow camera. Is it world location? So from here, we need to get world location. No, sorry, we do have world location here, and I'm adding vector. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so from the follow camera, get forward vector. That's it. I want to just go forward from the camera, and then I'm going to multiply this by float. So right click here and convert to float, single precision, and let's do like 2000 units in the front, and then we will add this here. And then we also need to get the unit direction, because this will just give us a point in front of the player. That's not the actual velocity that we need. So from that we need to get unit direction vector, and this is why I got the actor location from the owner, because this will be we can do from actor to this point that we calculated in the front of the camera, and this will be the velocity that we can connect. Okay, so this is how fast and where the fireball actually needs to fly. And then one more thing we're going to set it is the owner. We will just connect the owner, because then we can access the owner in the fireball itself, and we can calculate the damage and all that stuff. So this is all we have to do here. Okay, this is a little bit of a mess, but have one more look at it. So from follow camera, we're getting world location, adding to it forward vector of the follow camera, multiplied by 2000, and then adding it to unit direction. This one is 2 from, we're getting it from the owner from actor location. So to get velocity. All right. Now in the fireball, we need to do a few things. So in the event graph, on begin play, since we passed already the velocity, we can first set the velocity in a projectile movement. So get it, set velocity, and it will be this one, get velocity, but we need to multiply it, otherwise it won't pretty much move. So let me delete this too. So we're going to multiply it by float again, so to float, and let's do like 2000. And add it to velocity. All right, so this will start moving straight away as we spawn it, and then let's actually test it. So let's see if this works. So now if I go to Combat Arena, I equip the stuff. Sorry, I do have a sundown from the last video. So equip the stuff, and then press 1. There we go, and we're casting, and we're spawning the fireball. Alright? So this is working fine, but the fireball is not flying forwards. And I think that might not be the projectile movement, that might be the fireball Niagara system itself. But let me try one more time. So if I look up and cast it, you can see the fireballs flying up. So it's rotating correctly and it's spawning correctly on the good place. And it actually looks quite nice. It's proper Hadouken spell or whatever. You can use the weapon and shield. Doesn't look as good, but it looks okay, to be honest. I think it looks fine, and we also can use 200 to cast fireballs, so looks like this. There is a bit of a clipping, but I think it's fine. For this type of animation, for free, I think it will work. Okay, so now the fireballs are everywhere. What I think is happening is if we go to our effects in third person and open the fireball, NS, I think I didn't check local space yet, that's what it is. So check local space, because at the moment maybe the fireball itself was moving, but the Niagara system wasn't moving with it. So now I'll just do one more quick test. Equip the ability. There we go, and the fireball is flying. And it's flying quite nicely, as you could see. If I do it high in the air, it's flying up. But then when it's falling down, the tail is going backwards. It still has the same rotation. So what we want to do is go to fireball one more time. On projectile movement, we're going to do rotation follows velocity. All right. And sorry, I'm just going to do one more quick test. Again, pick up the weapon, ability, equip it. And then now basically the fireball should rotate. So I'll fire it high like that and go to the side. And as you can see, it's turning in the air and then falling still with the front forward. And it's nicely tilting, it looks fine. So even if I fire it high in the air, not sure if it will fall back down. Eventually. Yeah, see, it turns around in the air and then it keeps falling nicely. Really cool. Alright, so now we just need to set up the actual collision and adding damage and stuff like that. So in the fireball itself, let's go now to the sphere. And we're going to do... I collapsed all of the variables, forgot what it's called. You can expand them by not this. What am I doing? Expand all categories, there we go, and scroll all the way down and do on component begin overlap for this sphere. And now we will do branch. First thing we want to check is that it's not overlapping the player, so other actor is not equal. And you remember we passed on the owner from the fireball, from the ability component. So we will get owner, that will be the player in this case because the player is casting it, and if it's not equal the player, we can continue. We will do, as soon as it hits, we will do spawn emitter add location. I'm spawning emitter because I'm going to use the explosion which is from the starter pack, so we don't have to create anything. So explosion, this one here, P explosion, we are using it, some parts of it already in the magic projectile. This will just be bigger explosion, but this time I'm going to leave the whole thing because I want to have a smoke and everything else. And I'm just going to change the scale to 3, so it's bigger because the fireball is quite big. So scale 3, and then for location we're just going to get actor location, so where this actor is located when it hits. Alright, so that's explosion effect. Now we will have to set up sphere trace by channel because we don't want to use this. This one doesn't give us proper info that we want. And it also hits only one enemy at a time. So we want to hit multiple enemies because this will be area of effect spell. So if the fireball hits something, we want to hit all the close enemies. So that's how it usually works. So we're going to do multi-sphere. Where is it? Multi-sphere trace by channel. This one here. And for starting point, we will again get this actor location and just connect it to start and end. This is a sphere, so I think it only needs 1 point. For radius, we're going to do something like 3 meters. Might be too big, but we'll see. I'll do draw debug for duration. And then in this one, we also want to set up actors to ignore because this multi-sphere trace by channel, this basically hits multiple enemies and it gives you all the hits, but also it hits every single bone on the enemy. So if we hit enemy, it will give us multiple, like 30 results from out hits, and we don't want to hit the same enemy multiple times, so we need to set up actors to ignore. We will do promote to variable, which will be just same actors to ignore. I'll remove spaces, and then we're going to set up branch, and if we have hit something, by the way, we are tracing for enemies only because it will explode when it hits the ground, but then anyway, so here, if we hit the ground already, when we overlap, it will explode and we will destroy it eventually. But here we're doing the multi-sphere trace by channel, and if we have hit something, then we need to basically cause damage. For that, I'm thinking we need to do for each loop on the hit. For each loop from the true value. And then first thing we need to check if we have already hit something. So we will do one branch. And we will check if this hit result, break it open. And we will get actors to ignore. And we will check if it contains. So contains item. And this will be hit actor. So if this actor to ignore is containing this actor that we're hitting now, then we don't want to do anything. On true, we will just leave it empty. But on false, we want to get owner, again, get component by class. And this one will be combat component. And we're going to call our apply damage function. So we're calling it from the owner component. The one that applies the damage needs to call this function. And then hit result we will connect from here. Damage multiplier. As I said, I don't want to set it manually here because then if you change it in data table, then it doesn't update here. And that's why I've created this ability. So before the for loop, so we don't have to do it on every single loop here. I'm going to get the ability and I'm going to do enum to string, so it converts to string. And from true, we're going to do get data table row. Just get data table row, sorry. And this one will be abilities, and this one will be the row. So it will get the ability that we have set, which we have set it to fireball, and it will pull out all the info that we need. And from that info, we can just break it open again here. And we will get damage multiplier. So now when we update it in the data table, it also updates here. For damage causer, it's still the owner, because owner is causing the damage. And for current stats, this is the same thing as with the arrow. We want to set the current stats that we have currently on the player when he fires the fireball, not when the fireball hits. Because as I said, we can fire it high in the air, change or update and buff the player, and then when it hits, it will be increased damage. So we don't want that. We want to here on begin play, we want to again get owner, get component by class, and this one will be stats component this time. And in stats component we got stats, so get stats, and we're going to promote it to variable called stats here on begin play. And then that will be the stats that we had when we created the fireball, and when we hit with the fireball, those are the stats we'll pass on. So for the effects, at the moment we do have it set up that it's passing the effects from the player, so from the stats component or from the ability component or wherever we have it saved in the conditions component, we could get effects, but the character, the player, doesn't have the burning effect, which I want to apply as well with the fireball. So what we're going to do is in the abilities, we're also going to set up one new variable which will be effects, and when that ability has effects, it can apply those effects. So we're going to go back to ability struct, which I closed. So third person, blueprints, structs and deities, and abilities. And here add new variable, and this one will be data table row handle. And we will call it effects. Let's make it also array, so we can have multiple effects, just in case we have some spells that can cause two different damage effects. And then in the data table, again, abilities data table, we're going to set it up on the fireball. So here we're going to add effect. Data table will be effect data table, and we do have this burn here. This is not the burn I want to be using because I want to have 100% chance of the burn. This will just add you the effect that has, I don't know how many, what is the chance that we set up here. So we'll set up different burn, but not in this video because it would be very long again. So we do have now effect, and we will add it here, and that will just calculate, those effects. Compile and save. Why that's giving us trouble? Refresh. Yeah, okay, I don't know why it needed to be refreshed. And then obviously we're checking if this actors to ignore contains this. So if this needs to be from false. Sorry, I said it. So this needs to go to false. And then we also need to get actors to ignore and add this actor that we just applied damage to, because we want to ignore it after, so we don't hit it again. Right, and now on completed. So when all of this multisphere is done, we are done hitting enemies. We're going to destroy actor, which will be self. But then also here, if we don't hit anything, so if the return value is false, we also want to destroy actor. So if we hit the ground or something else. Right, and I think this is the whole setup that we need to do. So now compile and save. Let me just put one extra enemy here in the middle. Play it. And let's see if we have done everything correctly. So fireball spell. And cast it on the middle enemy. There we go, and it exploded. Don't worry about those red lines. That is all the bones that we have hit. But as you can see, we only hit every actor once. So that was working fine. So now I'm just going to turn off the testing. Fireball. This one will be none. So we can see a little bit better what is actually happening. So the fireball explodes and we hit every single one. 2 of them we also set the burning to. There is a chance, as you remember, so there's not 100% chance, so only 2 of them got burned. But as you can see, I'm hitting all of the enemies. But the problem is what I mentioned in the previous video, that at the moment we do have a cold damage on the staff. And fireball I want to have a fire damage, but it's causing cold damage because that is the damage type that we have on the player currently. So in the next video I will just do some improvements and fixes, and we will convert the damage all to fire damage. And also there will be one more fix, is we will set up the rotation same as where we are at magic attacks, this one here, because if I fire fireball and keep rotating, you can see it's flying behind the player. We don't want that, so we want player to rotate always. So I will add those little fixes in the next video, but this is pretty much the biggest part of it is done. So I'll see you in the next one then. Bye.